Hi everybody, welcome to Bake Me Happy. This week we're going to be making chocolate cupcakes for Easter. We're going to start by preheating our oven to 160 degrees Celsius, and we'll start with the cake batter and then we'll move on to the icing a bit later. So the ingredients we have today are 100 grams of dark chocolate, 125 grams of butter, softened, a quarter of a cup of cocoa powder, 1 1/4 cups of brown sugar, a cup of water, 3 eggs, half a cup of plain flour and 1 1/2 cups of self-raising flour. So the equipment we'll be using today is a small saucepan, 18 cupcake trays and a stand mixer with a paddle attachment. We've combined the chocolate and the water in a saucepan on a low heat, and we've just waited until it's completely melted and combined. So we're going to turn that off and let it cool down. Our next step is to combine the sugar and the butter into the electric mixer and beat it until it's soft. So we've just beaten the butter and the sugar together until it's come to about this pasty kind of consistency. The next step is to add 3 eggs, one at a time. And we'll beat that one in. So I've just finished beating the eggs and the sugar and the butter together. So it's come to this really smooth consistency and it's still holding its shape a little bit in the bowl, as you can see. Our next step is to add the flour and the cocoa powder. So we're going to add them in little bits at a time, probably about 1/3 at a time of the flours, and then beat that up in between each addition. I finished mixing in all the flour and it's time to add the cocoa powder. We're just going to stir that in with a wooden spoon. Now that that's reasonably incorporated, we're going to add the chocolate mixture a little bit at a time just to loosen up the batter a bit. Now that we've got everything incorporated into the mixture, we're going to divide them evenly between all of the cupcake cases. The most important thing here is to make sure that everything is even, otherwise you won't get an even bake. What I tend to use is an ice cream scoop to keep everything even. It's about 1/4 cup, but you can use whatever works best for you. So we're going to start dividing up the batter. Alright, so we've evenly distributed all the cupcake mix into all the pans. We're just going to give it a bang on the countertop and then we'll transfer it into the oven. So that's just going to get any of the air bubbles out. So we're going to place them into the oven for about 20 minutes or until they spring into the touch. The cakes will come out of the oven and we're going to put them aside to cool while we make the icing. So the ingredients we'll be using today for our decoration is 850 grams of icing sugar, 250 grams of butter, softened to room temperature, some pink food colouring, some yellow food colouring and some writing icing. Okay, the equipment we'll be using today is a large sieve, just because of the amount of icing sugar we have, a Ziploc bag, a spatula, a piping bottle with a small round tip. I've chosen a bottle, but you can use a bag if you feel more comfortable with that. An electric mixer with a whisk attachment. So our first step is to add the butter into the electric mixer. I've sliced mine for ease of mixing, and to just mix it for about 5 minutes until it becomes pale and fluffy. So we've mixed up our butter until it's quite light in colour and it's pretty fluffy, so we're just going to take the attachment off and add our first batch of icing sugar. So you can add this at whatever pace you want. I'm going to go at about 1/4 at a time. And we'll just sift that in and then mix it. So I've mixed it up and it's a bit of a crumbly consistency, but we're going to add the liquid food colouring and see if that smooths it out, and if not, we'll add a couple tablespoons of milk. So I'm just going to add the yellow food colouring to the entire batch of icing. And we'll mix that up until we get the desired colour that we want. After we have our icing mixed to the yellow that we want, we're just going to take a reasonably large spatula full and put it into a separate cup for mixing. So with this small batch of yellow, we're just going to add a tiny bit of pink or red food colouring to make it into a little bit of an orange for our chicken's beaks. So now we're going to put the icing into different icing methods. So I'm going to put the orange into the piping bottle. Our next step is to put the yellow icing into our Ziploc bag. If you have a piping bag and a round tip, you can use this, but I'm just going to use this because it's what I have available. So now that I have all of the icing piped onto each of the cupcakes, I'm just going to smooth them over onto so they have a smooth top, so we have a better surface to work with. So we've smoothed out the top of the cupcake, and we're now going to pipe on a little beak with our orange icing. Right in the centre of our cupcake. And then we'll add some eyes with our writing icing. And some little wings on the side. So there we have it. I'm going to finish off the rest of these cupcakes and then we'll come back to finish the video. So here we have our finished Easter chocolate cupcakes. Thank you very much for watching Bake Me Happy this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.